end of the giving to create a sense of self-sufficiency for those who we give the monies to or give the monetary benefits to. And it's been a taxing type situation to try to explain this, but sometimes it just takes time. Bottom line, it takes time. But what I want to talk to you a little bit about something today is actually it happened as a result of our last presentation when we talked about the issue of fighting the battles of injustice from where you are. If you are a person who is with an insurance company and you see the redlining taking place and there's efforts to try to prevent it, are you going to sit back or are you going to work with those efforts to try to prevent the redlining? Or if you're with a situation where you can motivate and get people to get out and vote, are we going to sit back or are we going to try to get people to get out and vote? And whatever your situation, your circumstances, somehow you would probably run into the area of injustice, and the question is, this is where you have to fight. It may not be on the picket line, it may not be a massive protest by you, but it could be your efforts, your individual efforts with dealing with the injustice that you are facing at this particular time. Well, got a couple calls, and actually both of them came in right after each other, so I know exactly what they were about. And as I was doing the presentation, I simply says, well, with Greater Detroit Community Outreach Center, 40 years of working in the city of Detroit with the area of preventing teen parenthood, not servicing, but preventing the first. But we found that the real issue is it's not black, it's not white, it's green. And our efforts, what I wanted to explain is that there are individuals, just tell it like it is, there are individuals who are there who can see this issue for what it is. If we're just giving and not providing any element of self-sufficiency at the end of the giving, then we've just given. And that till the next time when we'll just give again. But there's individuals who are intelligent enough to understand this and should be fighting the battle of injustice from where they are. But you see, the question related to the understanding of how is it green? Well, let's take for example, let's suppose that you had equal rights. You were able to get equal rights on any issues that you wanted, voting, any issue that you wanted relative to racial discrimination. All of this you were able to overcome. The question is, would we be satisfied then? Well, if you would be satisfied, then I'm saying the answer is not black, it's not white, because we're all equal now, right? But the answer is still green. Whether or not you're taking those efforts that have been given to you in terms of financial stability and making a sense of self-sufficiency for yourself in dealing with the problems of life. For example, you take some of our more famous, very famous African Americans who've achieved certain securities in life. Well, Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, our most recent president, President Barack Obama, they've all achieved a certain amount of success, and they've achieved it not necessarily because of their skin color. They actually overcame that impediment and achieved a certain amount of financial stability. They were able financially. And as a result of being able to maintain this sense of financial stability, they were able to transcend or not even deal with the issue of race because the financial stability is there. You see, now let's keep breaking it down even further. We've all heard of the stories or seen the situations where star athletes will come back to the project. In fact, we know of some very specific, I won't give any names, but they come back to the project and they give millions, not millions, a million, they give millions of dollars to have that project refurbished and put back to where it was, or the way it should have been. But they come back 5 years later and the project was in badder shape, in worse shape than it was when he came. Now, it's not a question of who did what, who took the money or anything like that. That's not the issue. The issue was that one-time $1 million or $2 million donation didn't have a prevention component. The end results, when we gave the money, for example, situations where in the projects, old adults live with their parents. Situations in the projects where kids, although not having recreation on the outside, they use it on the inside, in the projects facilities. Now, these are just a few examples of things that could perhaps hinder the living situation in the projects. But that real issue, and let's clear it up now, is that somehow there isn't a tie-in of those who are living there with the progress or the building of the project community. For example, they don't own it, so why should they care about it? So therefore, the end result is not prevention of the problem in creating good housing. The end result was we were able to get some good housing for the moment, but the mindset is not there to continue the progress. So you see, as we move through these troubling times at this time, we must be aware of what we're fighting for. And if it's stopping systematic racism, great. Then let's do that, but look for the end results of what we are using these efforts for. And if you don't see the future of preventing it, then you haven't had we haven't had a prevention component necessary to deal with the problem. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. Police brutality. Okay, we want to stop the chokeholds. All right, then what? If the underlying issues, the community itself, if we haven't tied into the police department making the programs relevant to the people in the community, okay, it's not a chokehold next time. Next time it'll be something else. You see, unless that's done, the end results will probably be the same. More likely will be the same. Almost absolutely will be the same. You see, if we look at the athletes, the actors, the guy down the street many of those who have made a sense of financial security, they have gone through some things. They didn't just get there. They have gone through a sense of injustice being done to them at some point. But they overcame it through their success financially. So sometimes we look at this and we say, well, he had this or he had that, but you have the same opportunities. Don't get off the picket line. Don't stop. Keep doing it. But understand, when it's all over, it's going to be about you. About you. And if you can't see that, then okay, stay in the picket line, protest, and let the system tell you what to do. But if you understand it and put it first and put your understanding of who you are and what you want to do in life, and maybe even follow in the footsteps of some of the Michael Jordans and Oprah Winfrey's and Barack Obama. Because if they've went through something, they've laid the footwork for you to do the same. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Creighton Rippey.